Louisiana beer reviews. Cerveza Barrilito. Cerveza Barrilito, the little barrel, is from Mexico, and I bought this in Matamoros, Mexico. It's brewed in Mexico City. I don't know when it was introduced, but I do know it's only sold in two configurations. A little 10-ounce bottle here, and they also have a 15-ounce bottle, which they came out with a few years ago because some people wanted a bigger bottle, they said, on the Grupo Modelo website, which is today, for the past year, an InBev company. It says, el abuso en el consumo de este producto es nocivo para la salud. Okay. Modelo amigo, it says right there. Don't know when this came out. I couldn't find out on the website. A lot of smoke, but it's going to blow right away with this north wind coming in from that unusual, well, you might see some of the smoke, that unusual cold front here for May 1st, down to 50. It was in the 50s last night. It'll be up to about 73 today. Very strange for this time of the year. Okay, bright sun out there. Thick white head and a clear bubbly straw appearance, okay, and a tasting glass etched bottom. Figured I'd use an Anheuser-Busch InBev tasting glass. Well, with that bright sun, just like with the Tecate light, you're getting a lot of little particles. I called it grit in the last video, but it's really not grit. It's more like little, it almost looks like dust, but it's not dust. This glass is clean. I see that in a lot of lagers. Little white particles. I don't know how else to describe it. Typical looking beer. Now, lager beer. The alcohol content is very low. They say 3.6% alcohol. I did not see that on the Grupo Modelo website, but they're saying that on Beer Advocate and Rate Beer. Beer Advocate saying it's okay. There's only like 61 reviews on that site. And Rate Beer saying it's a 1 out of 100. You know, they generally hate mass-produced lagers, okay? So there's no shock there. The aroma, sort of a stereotypical Mexican beer aroma. A little bit pungent, little bit of a lightly roasted barley malt. They might use corn as an adjunct. I don't know about that though, because a lot of these Mexican beers are non-adjunct beers. Even Corona, I think, is not made with an adjunct. I hear people say that it is made with an adjunct, but if you look on the Corona website, there's a bunch of different websites. Carefully, it only says water, barley malt, hops, and yeast. But whatever, it's very light. Let's go with the flavor. In fact, the Modelo Light is has more aroma, is more aromatic. The flavor is very again, stereotypical lager beer. You've got that malt, and it may or may not have corn, like I say. The slightest bit of hops. It reminds me of Schaefer Light, of Schaefer beer, maybe even Schaefer Light, because you know this is, if they say this is 3.6%, Schaefer Light maybe a little more ABV than that. A light and watery mouthfeel and a crisp, clean, refreshing, and highly drinkable finish. Pretty good amount of lacing. So it's nothing remarkable. but it's nothing bad by any stretch of the imagination. I don't see how this could get a 1 out of 100. I mean, I can understand rate beer. Beer Advocate. Okay, Beer Advocate saying it's okay. I'll go along with something like that, saying it's okay, it's nothing remarkable, and I can deal with a rating like that. But to say it's, horrible, a 1 out of 100, that's not really credible. Kind of cool little bottle. The little barrel, and Mickey's Fine Malt Liquor in America is a little beer barrel, and it's more textured on the side. People say it's a grenade, but if you look carefully at it, it's not a grenade. It's a little beer barrel. Well, I think this is good. It's I'll give it a B. I think it's good. I don't know about very good. I think it was extremely cheap when I bought it. I don't know. It wasn't nearly $1. So if you're in Mexico and you eat Mexican food and you want to slam that back a bunch of beers that aren't going to have a lot of calories and certainly not a lot of alcohol, this might be one to have. I'm glad I got to try it, that's for sure. So no problems with that Barrilito at all. Won't be seeing it in the United States. I think it's a Mexican only beer. Showing old artifacts, which I ran out of artifacts. I think I have books. Here's a book I bought years ago. I think I only paid maybe $1 for it. Probably not $1. Maybe it was 75 cents. It says $2.50 here, but I don't think I paid $2.50. The Story of Nations. Okay, Story of Nations from 1940. And I read the whole book. It's like a geography / history book, because it goes back and it gives the history of the countries and some geography, and it goes through the history of the world, right? So back to the early man, and then it goes to the Egyptians, and then all the other civilizations: Babylon, Egypt, India, Assyria, the Greeks, Alexander the Great, and then the Romans. And then it goes to the Middle Ages, and everything. And then it goes, the Holy Roman Empire, all the way, the Renaissance, the modern, and then the modern nations. And then it goes through each nation. It'll say England, France, Germany, Austria, the founding of the British Empire, and then it talks about the British government, how that system works, and how they were transferring into the Commonwealth, which is like the family of nations instead of just an empire over the countries, the formation of Germany. And then the most interesting part of this is the situation in the modern world. And they have some very good articles about World War I, and then the beginning of World War II, and why the countries were fighting, nationalism, one of the key problems then and today with Ukraine and Russia, with nationalist arguments, and then how Germany was getting strong. But it has some interesting comments that you wouldn't read today, like it talks about they say the Soviet Union and Germany, they say, they talk about two dangers are seen in the modern world. Two dangers are seen. Communism and its right-wing brother, fascism. So they're saying fascism, Germany, Italy, and Spain to some extent, is a brother of communism. And then they go all about all this stuff that was building up to World War II. And it's so interesting. They talk about the haves and the have-nots. And they say Germany was one of the have-nots, so they were mad because they were trying to get land, Italy too. And then they talk about Russia, and they say Russia really wasn't a have-not. But they were playing, and they talk about this, they were playing fast and loose with everybody, the Allies and the Axis powers. And of course that's what Russia was doing, playing fast and loose with both sides. And like they're saying in the book, they're in an alliance, so-called Germany and Russia, but they figured it wasn't going to last. And even talking about how Russia was going to wait to see how it shook out between Germany and Great Britain, and then they would just jump in and pick up all the scraps. And we know what happened in 1941. Germany sort of getting the feeling that that's what Russia was planning to do, and so they figured they'll get the jump on them before they came in blasting. But even they predict in this book, they say the scourge of war, and how war was such a terrible thing for the world. And even they say Germany apparently, seemingly, is the victor in 1940. But they said the results are going to probably be disastrous for Germany too in the long run, and we know that they were a terrible situation, and that they should have never attacked, or Japan. And it's really interesting because they're kind of predicting what happened. They're kind of predicting in 1940 what was going to happen as it developed. So that's a fascinating book. And an interesting beer, and I'm going to end this review by saying, y'all come on down to New Orleans.